Okay. Hi everyone.
Hey guys, this is my first video ever. I am very nervous but also excited.
Yes, this is take number 2 now, and we've been sitting here for a while for Shaha to prepare himself. So yeah, today's video is going to be our love story. So I'm going to give my perspective, Shaha's going to give his perspective, so you could kind of see like how I was in America, he was in Kenya, and then how we came to both be in Kenya now.
Yeah.
So
Stay tuned.
So let's start with my story of how exactly our love story came to be. So it starts originally when me and Safari were living in China, actually, because we became friends with a lot of people from Zimbabwe. And so thus having a lot of Zimbabwean friends on Facebook. So after having all of these friends on Facebook and going back to America, then the Facebook, like people you may know, started like popping up like different people from different countries in Africa. And so we got this one, I got this one people you may know, and it was this girl named Christine, and she lives in Zimbabwe, but she has vitiligo. And so I was like, oh, like she's like really pretty. I clicked on her like profile and looked at all her pictures, and me and Safari have always been really interested in like the channels on YouTube like Born Different and all of those different types of things. I wanted to make sure that Safari understood that like people are born different, right? And that doesn't mean that you should look at them any different or treat them any different, like they're still a person. And I wanted to start that from a young age because I feel like I didn't get that so much when I was younger. So I felt that kind of like awkwardness around any person with like a disability, and I didn't want Safari to ever feel that way. So we would always watch these videos together or whatever. So seeing Christine's profile, I was like, oh, okay, like I'll add her. And so she added me, and over time, like I would like comment on some of her like posts. She's a model now, so she has like a lot of like pictures of like her modeling and stuff, and so I would like comment. We went through a few like private messages and stuff, and just like message every now and then. So then, because of being friends with her, and Shaha was friends with her just from like the vitiligo community, because there's a lot of like Facebook groups for vitiligo like all around the world. So they were friends, and then eventually I got people you may know, which was Shaha in Kenya. And so like immediately when I saw his picture, I was like, oh my gosh. And so my best friend Nikki, she was like I was telling her about this, and she knows that like I like people, like a lot of times when I date somebody, it's somebody that's like has some type of story behind them, you know, like not to say that like somebody that doesn't have like a problem or issue or disability like doesn't have like an interesting story, but like I always like being with somebody that went through struggles and came out like positive on the other side, right? So when I like showed Nikki this picture of Shaha and I had added him, I was like, that's the guy I'm gonna marry. Oh my gosh. You know, like joking at the time, but I was just like, he is like so gorgeous. And so like when I first added him, he added me back, but like there was no like there's no conversation or communication like after that. And I think I had eventually, like this I think was months later, like I had liked or commented on one of his like pictures that he posted with one of his friends or whatever. And so then I think he either liked it or he like commented back. You liked it or you commented back?
I commented back.
Okay, he commented back, so that gave me like fuel, like, oh, okay, like I got somewhat of his attention, right? So then I think we started like private messaging, and then quickly after we private messaged, like I wanted to get a sense of like where his head was at, right? So I thought I was gonna be slick and be like, oh, I messaged him and I was like, oh, like, do you have a girlfriend? Because I don't want to be disrespectful to, like, another, like, female, you know? And apparently I wasn't being slick at all because he, like, knew where I was going with that. And he, like, avoided the question for, like, multiple back and forths, right? And so I was like, oh, so, like, you never answered my question, like, do you have a girlfriend? And he, like, messaged me, like, blushing, like, emojis, and he was like, no, I don't have a girlfriend or whatever. So then we just, like, kept talking from there. But backstory, like, before I met him and knew he was from Kenya, I had watched this documentary of this white woman who came from the UK, and her fiance had died previously, so she had been to Kenya previously with her fiance, and she felt like drawn to Kenya, and she was like, well, since my fiance died, I have nothing holding me in the UK, I'm gonna go to Kenya. And like, she wanted to start a nightclub and all of this stuff. So if anybody knows anything, like, so, or has researched Kenya, you've probably seen this documentary. And so then, like, because she wants to start a business and make money off locals, like, eventually black magic was put on her, and like, she went through some horrible situations. She got put in jail. Like, there was like dead heads of animals, like, at the place where she lived, like, people put them there and stuff, like, with black magic, all of this, like, crazy stuff, right? So then by the time that, like, she, like, met someone, fell in love, got pregnant, she had no money left because, like, so many people had conned her. So she didn't have money to go to an international hospital, so she went to a local clinic. They did her epidural wrong, and she, like, felt the whole thing, but she couldn't move. Like, all this crazy stuff, right? So, moral of the story, at the end of this documentary, I was like, Kenya is on the not going list. Me and Safari travel everywhere, but, like, Kenya, I'm okay with that never being a place that we go. And so then I meet him, and he's talking about that he, like, is from Kenya and stuff, and I was like, oh, cool, like, we could be friends, but, like, I can never come there, you know? I was like,
just
not
friends.
Yeah, I was like, not happening. So, like, we still, like, we're communicating and getting to know each other and stuff. And I was doing my own things in America at this time, so it wasn't just like I was idle, because I'm never idle. So I was, like, going through, like, the surrogacy process, which I've made videos of. And then I was also, like, I don't know, thinking about having, like, another kid in, like, a more untraditional way, just because I like the way that I had Safari, and I really honestly never had the thought in my mind of actually settling down. Like, I never thought that I would get married. Like, my best friend Nikki will tell anyone that, like, Sabrina, marriage, no way. So, like, I wanted to have another kid in an untraditional way, just like I had Safari, and then just enjoy raising my kids myself. And so I kind of, like, told him that, and he was, like, really, like, reserved about that whole topic or whatever. And so eventually, like, we just kept talking, and this wasn't, like, talking, like, through the phone. This wasn't, like, video chats. It was just, like, messaging back and forth. But we started, like, communicating more and more and more, like, as time went on. So then I was still going through the surrogacy, so I was like, well, I plan to do, like, 3 surrogacies, so I have enough money to, like, officially retire. And so that'll be, like, around 4 years or whatever, so maybe I can come to Kenya in, like, 4 years or so, you know? And so that was just, like, a way too distant future. And so, like, he was still, like, doing his own thing here. He was going to college here, and we had our own separate things going on, just communicating constantly. And then me and Safari, I decided that after the first surrogacy, like, attempt failed, when something major like that happens in my life, like, I need to, like, make a move. Like, I need a fresh start in a fresh location. So I decided that we were going to go to Ohio, because my aunt lives in Ohio, but that definitely wasn't the reason why I went there. It's a really low cost of living. So I was like, we'll go there, we'll, like, start fresh. Like, I got the surrogacy situation transferred to Ohio, so I could do all of that. So we moved there and attempted the surrogacy at first, but it was just too restricting for my lifestyle. So I ended up ending that after the first transfer had failed. So then me and Safari started doing DoorDash, like, constantly. And at this time, like, me and Shaha were getting more serious, and so I was thinking of possibly actually going to Kenya. And so then I got in touch with like a church group in Ohio, and we started meeting for coffee. And this is right around the time that me and Shaha first had our like actual first phone call. And I was like, Safari was in the pool like at our apartments, and we were talking on the phone, and like I wasn't sure that he was going to understand me, because a lot of people like from Africa that you meet like on Facebook and stuff, like they'll be able to communicate in English through messages, but then when you actually talk to them on the phone, like I've noticed that a lot, even being here, like some of your friends, like they can message me well, but like if I talk to them on the phone or in person, like it's a struggle. So like after that first phone call, like he could understand me easily, and we just had like a good vibe going on in the phone call. So when I went to my next coffee meetup with my church friends, like they were like, "You're glowing," like when I was talking about him. So then I think the next week we had our video call, and like after that I was sold. I was like, okay, well we're doing DoorDash and we're saving money so that we could move to Kenya. And so a few months after being in Ohio, I think that we bought the tickets around October?
October,
Yeah, October. So we bought the tickets in October, and the tickets were for March 4th. So like we bought them like almost 6 months ahead of time, and that was the cheapest we could have got the tickets. I think the total for the ticket price, which was one way from Cleveland to Nairobi, it was $750 for 2 tickets one way. So that was like a really good price. And then I looked it up months after that, and it was like way more expensive, like double the price. So then we're like progressing, and I sent him the tickets, and so he's like, oh, like she's more serious than like I thought, right? And so then we're doing DoorDash like 9 hours a day. Safari's in the car with me. I'm sure that's controversial. And we save up like what my goal was to save up, like right before we leave for Kenya. And so we're like still like video chatting and calling like at least, I don't know, like every other day, sometimes every like 3 days or whatever. But we were like messaging like constantly. Like I would wake up to messages from him, and he would wake up to messages from me, because like the time difference was like 8 or 9 hours.
9 hours difference.
Yeah, so like we constantly were like talking to each other, and it was kind of like the perfect setup, because like right when he would go to sleep, it would be time for me to do like dinner time DoorDash around like 5 p.m. So it was like perfect timing. And so then we have to do all of the visa process. So that was like troublesome because of the whole like pandemic situation, and like are they going to like restrict like borders again and all of that stuff. So that was like a little nerve-wracking. And then right before we left is when like the South Africa like version of the pandemic like happened. And so then that was like making me nervous, like if they were gonna like not allow us to go. So we had to get a bunch of like health like QR codes in order to get here. So then we got here, and that was like super nerve-wracking too, because I don't know, I feel like in the movies like they like portray like this meetup as like this magical thing where like you run toward each other and like you embrace in like this huge like kiss and stuff, and it wasn't like that like at all. I think because both of us are nervous. Yeah. He's really shy, if you can't already tell. And so, and then also like Safari's with me, you know. So like he was like going the wrong direction, and I saw like his yellow sweatshirt, and I was like, is that him? Because he had a hat on, and I was like, is that him? And then like he turned to like look across the street, and I saw like the emblem on his sweatshirt. I was like, yep, that's him, because I seen a picture of him in that sweatshirt. And so I was like, oh, okay, Safari, there he is. And so we crossed the street, and then like I gave him a hug, and then Safari gave him a hug, and then we like found a car to go to the Airbnb that we had already planned. And so the first like couple days was kind of like we were getting to know each other, even though we were already comfortable like with each other, but it was still like that awkward time where like I know that I was 100% in, but I wasn't sure that he was 100% in, because we couldn't be like fully comfortable with each other yet, because it was still like the first time that we met. So that was like annoying to me. But like after, I don't know, like maybe a week, after like a week to 2 weeks, like I felt like really comfortable. And now like I feel like we're getting like more and more comfortable every day, even though like we're pretty much like fully comfortable with each other, and it's been like 2 months. So like we still have like the dynamic of like we have Safari, we have Georgina, our other daughter. So like we're kind of like still getting comfortable with like me and Safari not growing up here. So there's like certain cultural like dynamics that we're still getting used to. But in regards to like the love story part of things, like I feel so comfortable with him. And like there's so many things that like I've been in a lot of previous relationships, but there's so many things that like I never felt this comfortable with anyone in my life. Like any other relationship that I've had, like struggled to like fall asleep with a person. Like that person would like be like completely comfortable and fall asleep in the bed, and I would just be laying there like I need a sleeping pill, I need something. so like with him, like it's just like so like comfortable in that aspect, as well as like so many other aspects. Like I feel like we live in like such a small like studio type apartment that like you have to be comfortable with like every aspect of a person in order to live in such a small environment with both of us and then our two daughters. So yeah, that's our love story, and it is progressing thus far. We will keep you updated. So next is Shaha's version of our story.
My side of the story.
Indeed.
Okay, guys, welcome back for my side of the love story. From her story, it is very clear that it is my vitiligo that really attracted her to me. So I'm going to take you through to my story of how my vitiligo started and the progress and how I am now up to date. My vitiligo started back in 2013 December. The moment I noticed the first spots on my body, I was so sad, so frustrated, and I thought like my whole life is disrupted and it is never going to be the same again. I was having a very handsome looking body, but I was now about to get like colored all over my body, and that was so stressful. So in the early days, I started seeking, like researching what was going on with my body. So I was having a phone that was allowing me to access the internet. That is when I started searching for all skin related conditions, and I happened to discover that what was happening with my body was a condition known as vitiligo. So I was born and raised in a very small village where vitiligo was not known at all. No one was aware of it at all. So it was so like stigmatizing, like people were looking me so different. Some thought it was like contagious, so they avoided me, and in response to that, I had to spend almost 3 consecutive months like just indoors, not getting out for people to see me, because I was ashamed of myself. I was not free to anyone, just my family. So that led me to like seek for some people with similar condition, so that I can try to bond with them, have like a social networking with them. exchange ideas, and if there's any news of treatments.
I feel some type of way about that.
So there are some groups in Kenya of people with vitiligo. So I joined those groups, and there were conversations there of people like motivating others, inspiring others that this condition is not the end of life. You can have a better life despite having vitiligo, and there are some kind of treatments. So I decided to like look what treatment can be cheap and better for me. So the first treatment I decided to like do a follow-up was I used some creams, tacrolimus creams, and some cryotherapies, but they didn't help at all. In fact, they were so expensive, and I could not afford all those medications. So what I did was just to accept myself and move on. So in those numerous groups that I joined of people with vitiligo, I started receiving many friend requests from people who were having the same condition. So because I was searching for like social networking, I never ignored any friend request. I accepted all the friend requests that were coming. When I saw this person has vitiligo, I immediately accepted. And some of them were like contacting me like, hey, how are you doing? How is your condition? And that really helped me a lot. Like accepting myself, not knowing that there are so many people out there with similar condition. Yeah. So among those friend requests, hers was one of the friend requests. And at first I never went ahead and looked in her profile because it was a norm, like I was accepting all the friend requests without even going into details of who the people were. So after accepting her friend request, we didn't talk like immediately. There was almost like 3 months, and then I posted a picture of me with my friend, and then I think she was the first person to comment like, oh, you are so handsome. Yeah, that comment really got my attention, and she went ahead and like said, oh, me and my daughter, we are currently in California now, but we are hoping to come in Africa, probably Zimbabwe, but when we are there, we'll make a point of coming to Kenya and see you, so we should get in touch. That is how we started like messaging. We started in Facebook Messenger, and then we exchanged phone numbers, and we started now having some conversation in WhatsApp, daily conversations, and she could send many messages. Very, very many messages, and that showed me how serious she was. And after knowing how serious she was, I also got so serious. I was not having any thoughts of having a white lady as a wife. So this was something that I was never expecting. So it came because of vitiligo. So the first day is when we started like having some conversations. I never thought like she was genuine. Yeah, but there was things that she did that really made me believe that she was genuine. Like after she sent me the pictures of her tickets, her and Safari's tickets, like plane tickets, that is when I really believed that she's really coming to Kenya to be with me. So I had not told anyone like around me, including my family and my friends. So after seeing those tickets, like I decided to disclose everything to my friends. By that time I was still in college, North Coast Medical Training College. So I told them that I have been having a conversation with this white lady, and she's very serious. She wants to come to be with me here in Kenya as my wife. Nobody believed me, like nobody, including my roommate. At first he never thought I was saying the truth. I don't know why, but that is the truth. Like no one believed. Like even if I went ahead and showed them the conversations. Yeah.
Like even when I talked to his like roommate on the phone, and he was like, please do not play with Shaha. It is not his fault that he looks like this. And I was just like, what is wrong with people? Like, I was attracted to him because he has vitiligo, because he has a story, you know. And then people in Kenya are like, oh, nobody could ever love him or want him because he has vitiligo, especially not a white lady, since they look at like white people as like up here for whatever reason. So like people were like, oh no, like a white lady can never want someone that looks like you know. And I'm over here like, I want you because you look like you. Yeah.
That sounds so weird to most people here. Like how can a white lady or anyone love him because of his skin condition? That is so confusing. Very confusing. So after like disclosing all this to my friends, I then came home to the village and explained to my parents about the whole issue about me and her. I showed them the tickets. I also, by that time, she had sent some money for me to get a motorbike, because I told her that after graduating here in Kenya, it is normally very difficult like to get employed just right after school. There will be some time you will have to volunteer to some places, like getting experience before you actually get employed. So I told her during that time the motorbike could just keep me busy, like carrying few people here and there and earning some few money for credit and other things, other necessities. So I showed them, my parents, the motorbike and the tickets, and that is when they also like knew that everything was genuine, everything was real, and they all supported me in all ways. They were so supportive. After that, now the tickets, like their trip to come here, we communicated that earlier, and I was to go and pick them at the airport, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi. I had never been to Nairobi. Never. I have never been to Nairobi. So that was my first time to be in Nairobi, and I was so nervous. Like, it was my first time to be in Nairobi, and I was hoping to meet people that I have never seen, like, face to face. That was so scary. But I was so courageous, and because from the previous conversations we had, like, I got so comfortable. Like, she was very honest in everything that she was telling me, and I got so comfortable to the point that I was not afraid of meeting them at the airport. So I arranged that whole journey process, and on 4th, very early in the morning, I was at the airport alone. I went there alone. The most surprising thing is that it was my first time to be at the very busy airport in East Africa alone. So courageous.
Because he wanted his friend or his cousin to like come with him to the airport, and I was like, that's not gonna happen. I was like, this is like something that we're gonna be able to tell like our future children and our grandchildren, that like this is the first time we met. Like, you're not about to bring a friend. Like, that's not what this is gonna be. So I made him come alone.
So on reaching at the airport, I had to like read the signboards, and I saw the arrivals place, the international arrivals place. So it was very, very good that immediately I reached at the airport. That is when now they were ready. Everything about their luggages, all inspections was done, and they were like ready to embrace me. So they are the first to see me. So after seeing me, like, they waved at me, and I was like looking all over the place. So I saw her hand was up, and I just recognized them at the first sight. So I went towards them and gave them great hugs. Great hugs. I introduced myself like I am the one, and that was not even necessary because everyone can recognize me, even from far. Yeah, so that is how like we met at the airport. We got an Uber to the Airbnb that she had booked. The first week was somehow strange. Because it was my first time to like be very close with a white person, like in the same room. Like, I was a bit uncomfortable, but for the first few days I got more comfortable because she's very, very talkative, very funny, and her frequent laughters makes me more comfortable. So we stayed in Nairobi for
2 days.
For 2 days, and then we came to the village where we are currently staying now. And ever since then, we have been living so happily. Like, I'm very happy being with her and Safari. I really love them, and I am so thankful to God for bringing them into my life.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is my side and Shaha's side of our love story. I hope you guys enjoyed the whole story and the different perspectives that we give, because of course, like, it's viewed different in Kenya than it is in America. Like, my family was more skeptical of, like, is this a con man or whatever. His family was like, oh, is this somebody that's like deceiving you or whatever, until like we became more comfortable with each other, and thus like didn't care what anyone else thought. And here we are together very happily with us and Safari and Georgina. So you will get a lot more of our story to come on different things that we handle in daily life in the village, whether it's how we cook, our apartment tour, a village tour at his mom's place, many different videos to come. So I hope you guys stay tuned.
Bye.
Bye.